Hello, welcome to part 2 of how my family was put in danger by a TikTok scammer. I know the first video was a little dry. I wanted to give you some background information, but this is where it gets scary. And please, please, please push this video out. Like, share, comment, send it to as many people as you can so we can make sure that this does not happen to another family. So after the Barclay fiasco, he says, well, I want to go another route. And I said, okay. He says, do you have Cash App? And I said, I do, but I'm not comfortable with giving you that information. My Cash App is personal. It's something that my family uses on a regular basis, and I didn't feel comfortable giving that information out. So after I told him this, I left him on red for about a day, and I decided to do some investigating. And I had a picture that he had sent me, and I put it into Google facial recognition to see if maybe his picture didn't match his name, or if there was something that would pop up that would be not right compared to our conversations. I Googled his name, nothing came up, so I felt a little more comfortable with proceeding. But I still was very cautious on the situation. So then I asked him, before I would agree to proceed, I wanted him to take a picture of himself with a piece of paper holding up the date and stating he was not a scammer, and then a keyword or a phrase or something that would indicate conversations that we had had previously, so I would know that it was him. He did that. His face was on there. I zoomed in. There was no photoshopping. To me, it looked like a legitimate picture. So I said, okay, we'll go ahead and proceed. What do you want to do? And he says, I want to send you $100. He says, you keep 50 of it, and I want you to take the other 50 and buy Bitcoin. I want you to buy the Bitcoin and send it to a specific address, and we'll go from there. So he sent me the money. I kept the 50. I bought the Bitcoin. I sent it to the specific address, and I got a message, and it came up as beware of scam. So I texted him and I said, look, this is the message I'm coming up with. I don't know about this. And he says, don't worry about it. It happens all the time. It's not a big deal. Just go ahead and send it. So I did. Next thing I know, $100 popping up. $100. $600 in total shows up into my Cash App account, one right after another. So I texted him back and I said, this needs to stop. Just stop. And I noticed that the money that was coming in was not under his name. It was under somebody else's name. I'm not going to mention the name because I'm sure it's a common name. I don't want to insinuate anybody. I don't want to even go there. But I know it wasn't him. And so I questioned it. And he stated, oh, that's one of my employees. He's the one that has a Cash App account. I don't personally have one. He's the one that's sending you the money. He's the one that's been dealing with the sales of my cryptocurrency. Okay. So he says, okay, go ahead and just send me the $600 back in Bitcoin. And I said, okay. So I tried to do that. And I get a message from Cash App stating that I have violated their policies and procedures and that they were going to close my account. So at this point, I'm pissed. Because, again, that's my personal account. I had money in it previously that we were living on. And now I don't have access to it. So I contacted him and I told him, I said, this is what's going on. They closed my account. And I told him how mad I was. And he proceeded to say, oh, no, that doesn't happen. Cash App doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You're wrong. Send me screenshots. So because it was closed, I had limited access to my Cash App account. So So I sent him screenshots of what, what it was saying. And he says, well, that's not right. That's not right. You need to send me back my money. And I said, I can't. There's no way I can. I said, let me call Cash App, see what I can find out. So I called Cash App. And they said, well, you violated the policies and procedures. And we now, because of the amount of the transaction, they are investigating my account for fraud. And I said, okay, how long is this investigation going to last? And they said 5 to 7 business days. Okay. So I go back to him and I said, look, I don't have access to this money. I don't have access to my own money. I can't give it back to you until they're done with the investigation. I said, but because of you, my account is locked and I have no access to any funds. And he kept telling me I was lying to him and that I was trying to steal his money. And how dare I, he thought I was a honest person, and he'd given me all these account numbers, and, he thought he could trust me, and, he was wrong. I was stealing his money from him, which wasn't the case. I did not have access to it. I don't know how many times I told him that. Next thing I know, I'm getting text messages through WhatsApp from strange people that I don't know. Not only that, but I'm getting messages on my personal SMS messages stating that if I don't return the money within 24 hours, they were going to come to my house and undead my kids in front of me. I didn't know what to say. At this point, I'm seeing red. I'm so mad. You have now crossed the line. You have now avoided, you've taken it too far. You've come after my kids. And so I told him, I said, go ahead. Because I will be happy. I've screenshotted everything. I said, I will be happy to contact the police department and let them know what you're doing. I'm not at fault here. This all started because of you. So then this guy that I've been dealing with proceeds to tell me that now, I have stolen all this money from him and that he was going to go down to the police department and he would have to file a report. And I said, go for it. Let me know who you talk to. Get the officer's name. Get the officer's badge number. Let me know what department you go to. I will be happy to call them and give them all the information because I had screenshotted everything. So go for it. Then he comes back and says, oh, by the way, we didn't send you 600, we sent you 1,000. And I said, no, you didn't. You sent me 600. So it was an argument back and forth on how much he actually sent me. I, again, took screenshots of what was sent, who it was sent by, and how much I had in my account, which is still locked. So then he says, look, these guys are after me because you stole their money that they invested in me, or invested with me, and they want it back. So just go ahead and pay the half amount. I'll cover the other half. And I said, you sent me $600. That's what I will send you back. Period. No more, no less. But I can't do anything until the money's released. Stay tuned for part 3.
Please learn. It's for your own good.